Hey there. It has been a while. I'm out of practice. I'm probably going to ramble. So we'll just get that out there just like that. It took me a little bit longer to get this out over the weekend as we've cobbled this new venue together. One of the things I've learned is that technology has gotten a bit better. I could not find my cord for this guy. So same functionality. Good things come in smaller packages now. So here we are. Chronicles.com. My intent is to use this as a venue to re-engage, to continue to share some of the things that we had to take offline over the past couple of years as my focus shifted, and we'll talk about why that was and what I've been doing. And also to incorporate what's happened since the book. I'm not going to do any more books, but there's a bit of a prologue, if you will. And so I'm going to use this as a forum to speak from, share, to the extent that you folks want to share insights that I can post. Great. Kind of going back to our roots of some 15, 20 years ago when I was doing some very private things, and Dr. Steenbarger had this crazy idea to, hey Don, you ought to share your private diary. And I said, I'm not going to do that. And he said, well, no, you think about it. And so, that took on a life of its own. It was a risk and has led to so many good things in terms of the networks and the people that I've met and the people I've learned from. And hopefully it's been a good give and take on both ends. So here we are. We're going to resurrect this. It's taken me a bit to link to some of the older material. The old Blogspot blog is still there, thousands of posts. One of the interim websites, which I'd taken the domain down for Don Miller blog, I'm still in the process of pulling some of that stuff back. It's floating out there in the infosphere, and I've got ways of getting it back. But so I've got the old stuff and some of the newer material as well. So I'm cobbling all this stuff together. The jelly, the training programs, the webinars that people have been asking about that I put back online. I don't have a store site per se, but if you're interested, then there's an email, there's a fee, and we'll tell you where all the proceeds are going to go to in a second. So that's all up there now. A couple of tools, the Thinkorswim, which is now owned by Schwab. Thinkorswim platform scripts, the momentum scripts that we overlay out of the price charts if you're interested. So I brought that back. An updated bio that tells you what I've been doing for the past 5 years. I've been a little bit coy with this, but I'm going to be very transparent tonight. And so that's that. So you will see a section here called gratitude. And the longer that I have been away from the family here, if you will, the more that I realize that there's a great deal of gratitude that I need to share publicly. I did a little bit of that in the book in the acknowledgement section, but that list is too short, and this new list is still way too short. But it's my attempt, and it's going to grow over time. I'm going to retain this as an ongoing list, which will just get larger. So let me just put up with me for a little bit here while I do this. My wife, Deborah, obviously, we celebrated our 39th anniversary last night. We went to a wonderful gala put on by the Travis Mills Foundation, which is now our charity of choice in terms of any fees, proceeds that may flow through this silly venue. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Daughters, Courtney and Chelsea. If you remember, Chelsea was our younger diabetic child diagnosed at age 10. That led to all the great work we did with the American Diabetes Association. I still remember the large dog that Larry Connors provided her the day she was diagnosed. Literally it's like this big, that she still has. She's now a parent. Older daughter Courtney is now a parent. One's in the East Coast, one's in the West Coast. So we have a 2-year-old grandson on the East Coast and a 1-month-ish old grandson on the West Coast. So that's Theo Alexander and Cole Jackson, first and middle names. And so I'm a grandfather. And I'm going to them by the name Pop, which reflects the name of my grandfather on my mother's side that I referenced in the book, that was just a great mentor to me as a young lad. So yeah, here we go, another phase in life, and it's wonderful. Some other names that you do see in the book: my best man, friend, and lifelong basketball competitor, 6'5". I'm only 6'2". Jay Boucher. Trading folks, Dr. Steenbarger again, who came up with a silly idea to do the blog, and has just so many insights that he shared with everybody over the years. Linda Ratchke, Damon Plavatos, Robin Dane. Boy, Damon and Robin, I had to step away. About 5 years ago, I had to step away from two efforts that were very much in progress, and there was just no other way for me to come up here and do what I had to do. So we had built a global network out that to this day still exists in some form, but I had to back out my piece of the participation from that. And then Damon had just launched his last call service, so I thank both of you for your understanding and the complexity that created during that time. And in doing so, that has allowed me to do some really pretty good things up here too that I'll share. Other names: Verneman, Peter, you folks that are providing content, educational content throughout the web industry. From what I can see, you guys are just knocking it out of the park still in terms of sharing information. John Norquay, Sandy Meyer, you referenced in the book in terms of the MF Global effort. And then you come across some new names on this list that reflect what I've been doing and the people that I've met and I've worked alongside over the past 5 years. So about 5 years ago, I don't want to call it a startup company, but it's the best way I can describe it, was looking for someone to help build out their financial organization. And so they did a global search, and for some silly reason, they landed on me. And so the company's names, the parent company's Origin USA. Some of you may have figured this out. Origin USA was founded by just a wonderful, wonderful couple, Pete and Amanda Roberts, up here in central Maine. And they started out as a jiu-jitsu apparel company back around 2011, trying to bring U.S. manufacturing of that material back into this country. And since then, they branched out into footwear and other apparel, denim, jeans, hoodies, tees, hunt apparel. And so it's one of the fastest growing companies in the country. And it is helping bring manufacturing back of those products from companies, or as a result of companies that have gone overseas. We purchased a couple of factories out in North Carolina that used to work for the other guys. And so there's been a lot of sweat and toil done by folks far better than me. And to the extent that I've helped them build out a finance organization, it's been very, very rewarding. You think of what's happened over the past 5 years between COVID. We physically moved up here. We left our family home of 60 plus years that had been in our family. We weren't that old at the time. And I'm looking over here because I'm literally 12 feet away from a lake, looking out my window. So we packed everything up at the age of, 58? And said the only way to do it is to be here physically. And so my wife and I made that sacrifice, and it's a decision that I know to this very day was the exact right decision to make. The other company, you see the logo behind me, Jocko Fuel. So Origin is a parent of Jocko Fuel. Jocko Fuel is named after Jocko Willink, who many of you may have read about or know about. He was a former Navy SEAL, very instrumental over in the Iraq wars, who came back here and shared his insights and his leadership ability with corporate America, with organizations, with families, with individuals, and has done so much for this country, both as a result of his service and then since he came back. And he was looking for some help years ago to build out a nutritional company that would be a better alternative to some of the stuff that's out there. And that's not to disparage any other products or any other firms, but you think about things like energy drinks and protein drinks and supplements, and there is some junk out there, and there's some junk out there that just sells like crazy to kids, and so working with Pete and with Brian Littlefield, who's the other co-founder of Jocko Fuel, they've created a company which is now one of the fastest growing companies in the world, that provides a number of drinks. You see the hydration product that we just launched over here. I'm not here to hype, but I certainly want to share what I'm doing with you. We have energy drinks that are far healthier than some of the stuff that's out there, meaning that there's some caffeine, but just some. And there's other nootropics, there's other ingredients in there that actually is much more beneficial for you than something that's got 300 milligrams of caffeine and a bunch of other stuff and sugars and all that. So we have that. We have protein powders ready to drink. If you are interested, the last thing I'll mention is that you'll see some links throughout the site, and there's a 20% off through those links, and I'll give you the coupon code as well on the site. So if it doesn't kick in automatically. So that's what I've been doing. And our employee count has gone from, I think between both companies in 2019, we were probably around 50. And we're over 400. We may be over 500 now. And I can't share revenue numbers. Can't go there. But if you look at percent growth over the years, it's the percentage growth is in the thousands. And so where the grocery stores want us, the convenience stores want us, we have website jockofuel.com. We're at Amazon, and we just launched in Walmart. So it's going crazy. It is going crazy. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit better on why I had to pull myself away from this trading, which became a distraction for me as we were building this out. And those commitments, my new commitments, remain. But my intent here is to, let's have some fun with this. Every couple of weeks, let's gather back together again. Let me get an update like this, a video update. Let's talk about the markets, current things going on. We got an election going on. Volatility's picking up again. We've been through that before, right? On both ends. And so I'm gonna bring in new material. I'm gonna go back to the old blog and the old posts. I'm gonna bring some of those back in that are still relevant, and you'll see I've done that with the John Wooden post that's on the site right now. So other things. Joe Masciantonio, who's the president of Jocko Fuel and just a dear friend who's openly shared his faith along the way that has helped me. Kip Folks, who is a strategic advisor and sits on our board. He was the co-founder of Under Armour. Who has become a great advisor and a friend. That's been really, really great. Next name on the list is Travis Mills. So last night we were at the annual fundraising gala of the Travis Mills Foundation. If you are not familiar with Travis, please click on the link to the banner. Travis had a movie made about him. He has had a book written about him. He served in Afghanistan, and he lost all 4 limbs. And through the help at the Walter Reed facility and through a network of support up here in Maine, together they have grown the Travis Mills Foundation into an incredible retreat for wounded veterans and their families, so they could come back and regenerate their lives physically, mentally, provide love, support, whatever they need. And it's such a great organization and a great cause. And so we had a good time last night, certainly. And anything that we get, so the webinars, look, the fees for that we brought down. It's still relevant today. A little time has passed. So, all right, so we'll discount a little bit for that. But all that money, all those proceeds going directly to Travis Mills Foundation. American Diabetes Association, we did a lot of great work for. I think we can do a little bit better bang for the buck. I can see where the dollar goes a little bit better here. And both Origin and Jocko Fuel very, very close to Travis as well. So that's that. All the employees up here, all the families, my school folks, mates from years ago, and then the board of directors up here. That's a start at a list. And we'll hopefully grow it from there. What else? Let's take a pause here. Again, interest kind of resurrecting in the book. I guess these things have a life of its own. I guess maybe that's why some TV shows don't do so well initially. I mean, we did well out of the gate, but it's just a new. All of a sudden, email traffic is picked up for some reason, like Star Trek or you know Gilligan's Island. Maybe they did better in reruns. you know. What else? So tools, Thinkorswim script up there that has the overlay of our momentum indicators. It's not rocket science, but it helps move the momentum indicators up as an overlay in the chart. Very similar to the ping pong balls and the beach balls that we used to have on some of the charts that we had in our last effort. Formulated for Thinkorswim, which is now owned by Schwab. So much has changed, right? So it's a link to the blog, new blog, old blog. And that's pretty much it. So again, thank you for your indulging here tonight. What else? So markets. We've also almost come full circle on markets, because remember we started with it's funny, as I was putting that gallery together, the conglomeration of pictures on the first page, I had to stop because we could just keep going on, but go back to some of the early magazine articles. Don Miller, Trading the Qs, right? Tradingmarkets.com. The ultimate entrepreneurial experience. That's where that young guy with the dark hair, top left in the suit, that's where that one came from. But go back to the QQQ article, which was the idea of not having to pick stocks in your trading, but actually learn the beat of the rhythm of an exchange. And we started with ETFs, and then we migrated to futures and minis and micros and all that. But what's happened recently? We talked through all so Don was trading futures for a while. His transaction costs were out of whack. Then we went to see a seat lease. And then we went to an ownership of a seat. And those prices have they came down like crazy over the years, and they spiked up a little bit a few months ago. Now they're starting to settle back down again. Lease rates are still very, very reasonable. They're only like around $200 for an IOM seat. But what's happened? ETFs. Exchange traded funds, the Qs, the spiders. What are the commissions? Zero. Now there's an SEC fee, a very small SEC fee applied against the sales proceeds of every trade. So you're going to be aware of that if you're providing liquidity and your volume's up there. But other than that, it's bupkis. So what's that leave? That leaves you to learning, understanding, embracing, and riding the wave, the momentum, the rhythm, the jelly. It doesn't matter what you think. You have to be propelled by whatever the market thinks, and you have to be willing to sacrifice your I don't say your soul, but sacrifice your own desires and vision. You can have ideas, but make sure the market confirms them. And so that brings us full circle back to where we started with this whole thing, which was silly with the exchange traded funds and getting away from futures, perhaps. So that's one of my takeaways that we haven't really talked about in recent time during our time away. Market rhythms, the computers are at it, the algos are at it, but I said this 15 years ago. Who's programming the computers? People. The market psychology, look, they may change the lock, like Linda Ratzke says, and she's right, once you find the key. But there's a lot that just never changes. Human nature never changes. And the fact that human nature is now reflected in computers or artificial intelligence or whatever, there's some things that don't change. And so, you might have to be sharper, especially during the volatile times. But, certainly there have been some nuances to some of the rhythms. Watching some of the pre-market activity lately, some of the stuff just hasn't changed. The time slots that we've looked at, for years, all the head fakes, between 7 and 8 a.m. on the East Coast and the pre-market activity, and then 8 to 9 is pretty cut and dry in terms of, hopping on the first move there and then, closing out before the market opens. So, little nuances like that remain. We have the election coming up. Again, volatility picking up. So I think it's a great time to be around the markets. So maybe a good time that we're kind of reconnecting here a little bit. So I see I'm coming up on 20 minutes. Hey, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Poke around the site. Poke around the site. Again, the email reference on the first page as well, don@traderchronicles.com. Let me know what you think. What can we do together? Not every day, but I have thoroughly enjoyed the last few decades of this part of my life. I've been over here now, right? Or I should say here, and I'm having a ball, and I'm working alongside the best people. But there's good people on both sides. There's good people in the trading industry, the relationships and networks. I mean, when this life is over, that's what's going to be important. That's what's going to be important. And let's have some fun. So poke around the site. Let me know what you think about it. I've tried to create something that's clean. A little bit of advertising for support good cause. Again, check out the Travis Mills Foundation. We've got a movie coming out you should be aware of. It's now that information has been made public. So Way of the Warrior Kid, next Father's Day, we hope. Chris Pratt will be starring in it. Jocko Willink will be in it. You might see some product in there. It's about all I can say. And if you've ever liked the Karate Kid movies, or if you have followed the U.S. servicemen and women or Diary of a Wimpy Kid books years ago, it's going to be a combination of all of that, and it's Sundance, is that right? Sundance is backing it, so that's coming up hopefully next year. So we'll have some fun with that. Anyway, again, I've rambled. Good to connect with you folks again. Let me know what you think. Stay well, and we'll talk to you soon. I promise.